called on government at all levels to strengthen policing. Ensure, who made the call while speaking at the sideline of Today FM's Anti-Cultism Summit, which was held yesterday in Port Harcourt, the state capital, extolled the summit for being very interactive and allowing various stakeholders to lend their voices to the issue of insecurity in the state. Ensure, while speaking with our correspondent Alfred Alerici, also said the only way to tackle crime in the state is to curb gangsterism by making known criminals and gangsters liable to face the law.
Yes, it was quite interactive. There's no cult here. These are gangsters, and we must treat them like common criminals, common gang members. And there are laws existing in other parts of the world. Other countries of the world have got gang issues, right? When you name your problem adequately, then you can find examples of where people have had similar challenges and how they have managed to address them. So first, let's define it. These are gangs and the examples on how to tackle them. If we say the Nigerian police force is no longer able or adequate to cater for issues of securing the lives and properties of people, then our response should be, how do we reform the police force? How do we re-energize or re-evaluate or restructure the police force to the extent that they can actually adequately provide security of lives and property? There lies the problem. How do we make our police? You need to strengthen policing, and you need to make sure that when people are arrested for crimes, they are prosecuted for those crimes.
The chairman of the Vigilante Group, Victor Omaje, has expressed satisfaction with Today FM's Anti-Cultism Summit. Victor said he is pleased with the guest speakers and other participants and commended them for their extensive discourse on how to tackle crime in the state. Victor, while speaking after the summit, appealed to the station to sustain the summit, which, according to him, would help in addressing criminality in River State. Speaking with our correspondent, Alfred Alerici, Victor also urged the state government to assist the local security outfits in curbing crime in the state.
I am very pleased. Today FM, I must thank them so much. I like what they did, and if they will continue like this, it will go a long way. And because of the help of the Today FM, it will make security in River State will go down with this kind of stress. The government should come in and assist Today FM, because if they don't assist him, this Today FM, this crime will not go down. And the government should do something and assist the security, the local security, so that the crime will stop. Because without assisting the local security, equip them very well, the crime will still continue.
The Nigerian Ports Authority says normal port activities had resumed following the suspension of a 3-day strike by the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria. NPA spokesman Adams Jatu, who confirmed the resumption of port activities in a statement made available to newsmen, said NPA management regretted all inconveniences the strike might have caused port users and other stakeholders. He, however, gave an assurance of continued industrial peace and harmony in the maritime sector. Jatu also assured port users that the issues that led to the strike would be resolved as soon as possible in the national interest, and to further enhance NPA's mandate to deliver efficient services for customer satisfaction. The Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company, PHED, has attributed the recent loss of supply at Abloma Transamadi to line faults on feeders. The residents of Abloma, Gulf Estate, Orderly Road, Transamadi, Garden Estate, and the entire Transamadi are currently experiencing power outage that occurred early this morning. In a statement released by its manager of corporate communications, John Onyi, PHED disclosed that the forced outage is as a result of line faults affecting both Abloma and Transamadi 33 kV feeders. The company has, however, said its technical crews making frantic efforts to ensure that the faulty lines are fixed despite the unfriendly weather. It therefore appealed for understanding of customers within the affected areas to exercise patience while waiting for restoration of power supply. Stakeholders in the state have called for concerted efforts to check the twin ill of domestic and public violence in our society. This was the subject of discuss at the public presentation of the book, A Handbook on Domestic Violence, the Nigerian Perspective, written by Dr. Mrs. Glory S.M. Samadi. Speaking at the event, Henry Odili, a constitutional and human rights lawyer, tasked the people to condemn all forms of violence in the society.
Domestic violence or violence in any place is condemnable. It is good that people are coming out to talk about it, because before it's been a closet thing, but now I think it comes to the fore. It's something that should not be encouraged at all. But it's not just domestic violence. Any violence is uncalled for. The case of the senator who assaulted somebody who is not even his wife in a public place. It's the same thing. It's condemnable.
Also speaking, Akin Fakorede, an assistant commissioner of police, said violence has caused untold problems to humanity.
Like I have said severally, violence has never solved any problem. Through the history of mankind, in the last century we had 2 world wars. Between then and now, that was between 1939 and 1945, we had the Second World War killing over 50 million people. Between them and now, which is over 72 years, we've had several wars in different parts of the world. Many more people have died. But has it solved our problem? I commend Dr. Mrs. Ezemoyin for the good work.
Reports reaching us have it that the former Rivers West Senatorial District candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the last general elections, Elemchukwu Ogbonwu, who is also the immediate past special advisor to Governor Wike on finance and budget, has left the party. Ogbonwu, who is one of the founding members of the People's Democratic Party, said he decided to leave PDP because he had realized that the leadership of the party does not appreciate his membership and their contributions. Our correspondent reports that Elemchukwu Ogbonwu said in due time he will disclose to the public the party he would join next. Hearing has properly commenced at the tribunal sitting in Port Harcourt to hear petitions by the Action Democratic Party ADP seeking the cancellation of the victory of Governor Wike at the 2019 governorship election in Rivers State. Our correspondent reports that on Saturday's sitting, about 6 witnesses appeared to testify before the tribunal. Some of the witnesses who testified before the tribunal included a computer scientist, Iheanacho Wokoma, who claimed to be the head of the election monitoring group in ADP. He said to the tribunal that voting occurred in some wards in the area as he voted at Ward 3, Unit 3 in Umualozie, Ibo-Eche. Wokoma acknowledged that though he was not the local government ward or unit coalition agent of ADP, he generated the information through telephone messages from other agents of the party. He, however, admitted that his phone did not show the location of coalition agents who sent him updates. Another witness identified as Wisdom Okoro Wisdom, who neared an application form from Ward 4, Unit 14, Usumini Omoku Onelga, confirmed that he was at his polling unit when accreditation and voting started, and after casting his votes, he stayed until the results were counted and announced. Counsel to ADP and its governorship candidate, Dalapo Attorney, who also spoke to our correspondent on the court proceedings, as well as his application for the spokesman of INEC to be compelled to produce all releases concerning Rivers election suspension. On the foreign scene, Iran has announced it will break a limit set on uranium enrichment in breach of the landmark 2015 deal designed to curb its nuclear ambitions. Deputy Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Iran still wanted to salvage the deal but blamed European countries for failing to live up to their own commitments. The U.S. unilaterally withdrew from the agreement in 2018. It has since reimposed side sanctions affecting the Iranian economy. The Iranian announcement marks the latest breach of the accord. Blind American singer Stevie Wonder has announced that he will have a kidney transplant later this year. The singer told the crowd about his medical condition at the end of his set at British Summertime Hyde Park. Wonder said he had found a donor and would perform 3 more shows before the operation in September, and assured fans that he was fine and all was good. The 69-year-old singer said he decided to break the news himself to prevent rumors spreading about his health. And that's the size of the package at 6. Thank you for listening. I am Kala Dakaru Batbo. Stay tuned to Today 95.1 FM. Good evening to you.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
So good to have you here. Representatives from Daily Income, Engineer Offer Monday. He's the MD CEO, Funny Vision Nigeria Limited. Good to have you here.
Good morning.
Mr. Gabriel Hero, entrepreneur.
Thank you. Good morning.
Engineer Victor Etim. Good to have all of you here.
Good morning.
For the sake of the so many who have not heard this, and I'll be surprised if they haven't, but for the sake of those who haven't, what is Daily Income Stores?
Okay, for those who are tuning in for the first time to this frequency, Daily Income Store is a physical store here. Of course, that all you need to do is to walk into this store to do your own shopping. Of course, and then after your shopping, you have to drop your account details. Why do you have to do that? So that as other people are shopping from that same store, you'll be getting daily income or daily alert. And the good news is that this store sells things that we cannot do without. For example, you are hearing me right now. You cannot stay without not brushing your mouth. You're going to use chewing stick or toothpaste. You cannot stay without not taking your bath. You're going to use solid soap, liquid soap, powder, or liquid or solid soap. That means human being daily needs and one cannot be satisfied. All these things are available in Daily Income Stores. Your normal daily needs and one, things you cannot do without. So all you need to do is to walk into Daily Income Stores only once in a year to do your shopping. Then you drop your account details. As other people are shopping after you from the same store, you'll be getting daily income. We are already 13 years in over 100 countries. We are already 7 years in Nigeria. And we are telling you we are holding a big business event because some people don't know about this. That are holding a training to show them how things work. And of course, if you are already hearing me and you're looking forward to have an extra income, looking forward to have a project, for financing a project, you need money to actually take it to a level. We can show you this opportunity. You go to Daily Income Stores, you do your shopping. Of course, you drop your account details. And so people are shopping after you, you'll be getting daily income. So if you're interested to be part of this event, we're going to give you details more soon.
What makes this store different? What's the innovation? What's special about Daily Income Stores?
Honestly speaking, I've been saying this over and over again. What makes us different is this. Traditionally, walk into any store, what you do is that you give money in exchange for goods or services. That's what you do traditionally. And of course, you walk out of the store. Transaction has been completed. But in Daily Income Stores, you don't just give money in exchange for goods or services. The company will give you an opportunity to drop your account details. That's what makes us different. Okay. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us quite called that advancement in technology. That is the innovation about our business.
All right then. So shop and then drop your account
details.
And as people shop after you
in that same particular store, not all the stores.
That's okay. Not all the stores.
Not all the stores.
Okay.
There's a particular store you go to do your shopping. This store is already 7 years in Nigeria.
Mr. Gabriel Hero, how real is this? How true is this? Has this happened to you before?
For me, my experience with Daily Income Stores is phenomenal. And that's because as a business coach and a mentor, I'm always very keen to know the root of everything I'm into, especially when I look at the relationship between myself and the people I'm mentoring. So at Daily Income Stores, I've come to realize that for every budding entrepreneur, they have the necessary business skill that's required of anybody who wants to go out there and make money. And you're not just making money. In today's world, there's what we call sustainable development. And for you to have a sustainable development, you have to think of a sustainable source of income. And Daily Income Source is one store that gives you that guarantee that you can actually make money on a sustainable basis. For example, my personal testimony, when I went to Daily Income Source for the very first time.
When did you hear them on radio, just like this?
Yeah, I was driving. I was driving to my normal business day. I heard them talking about Daily Income Source over the radio. So I picked interest. I got the number. I text. I think that day it was text something. Enjoy, yes. So I was keen to really enjoy the ride with Daily Income Source. So I got there, I sat down, I listened to everything. Their seminar presentation was awesome, and the guys were very nice with me as a person. So then I asked a few questions and they answered me adequately. Then I shopped, and after shopping they asked me to drop my account number, which was something I've never seen before. And I thought, is this for online? I said, okay, let me just drop the account number. So I did. I left the account number with them. Got their product home. Their products were very awesome. The product, the beverages, everything were wonderful. Share with you my neighbors and they loved it. Then a few days later, I got an alert in my phone. And it was from Daily Income Source. So at that point, I was convinced that for real, this thing is legitimate. This thing is real.
It's real.
And people are actually making a lot of money at Daily Income Stores.
Okay, good. So I'm also going to ask Mr. Victor now to share his experience.
All right, thank you very much. My humble self, I actually heard about Daily Income Stores on radio. Actually, it was on a Saturday because I worked in one of the multinationals, and no, I don't work on Saturdays. So it was on a Saturday. I tuned to my radio. I heard about Daily Income Stores where you shop once, you drop your account number, you get paid as other customer shops after you. Of course, the first day I heard, I doubted it. I did not believe it. I was wondering how possible was it that you go and shop, then you get paid as other customer shops from the same store. It was the second Saturday I heard about it again. I said, okay, a question came to me, have you not used toothpaste? I answered myself, I've used toothpaste. So why not go and see? I went to the program. On getting there, I saw that the products they actually had were all NAFDA certified, toothpaste, soap, beverages, things that we use every day.
Every day.
Of course, they are packed in hampers. I decided to pitch and hamper for myself. Before I left, I dropped my account details. I got home, I told my wife about it. We used the product. It was awesome. Of course, I told all my neighbors and every other person. Wednesday, they did their shopping. But today, a few days later, I got an alert. I must confess to you that what I'm getting from Daily Income Stores today has been wow. I don't want to mention figures on the air, but for those that are listening,
they're looking at you. You know it's wow. And this has been consistent. As people have continually
as other people keep shopping from the same stores. Of course,
so
2 years. That's what I'm saying. For 2 years now, it's not what is
so
just happening.
So you've been income money 2 years
now. Of course, it's not new. That's why we are here in this city to tell the people about it.
So who can be part of the training?
Actually, we are expecting to see everybody. We are expecting doctors, engineers, commissioners, educated, not educated. As far as you are spending money every day, you deserve to make money every day from Daily Income Stores. At least everybody, of course, need an extra income. And definitely it's a one opportunity for you. I shopped 4 years ago. So I've been getting daily alert for the past 4 years. So you are doubting, come and see me at the venue of the program. And it's going to happen tomorrow. No African time. By 11 o'clock for the morning section. You cannot come by morning. We have the evening section by 4 p.m. It's an hour training. We have question time for question and answer. For those who want to actually do their shopping, you can do it at the venue of the program. You can pick your packages at the venue of the program. You can always drop your account number because bankers are always there for those who don't have account number to open the account. So we have free product for the first 100 participants. No more 10. But we normally have crowds in our program, so we're increased to 100 right now. So if you're interested, just text the word enjoy. For those who want to enjoy in 2019, I think he's going to hear me call the number. Please text the word enjoy.
Just text enjoy to this number
0903 956 3798. 0903 956 3798. 0903 956 3798.
Okay, so I know that this is fantastic. I mean, you said you've been with it 2 years, you have 4 years, you last year, and then it has been awesome. But as we all know, with every business, there's got to be some risk to it. There must be something about the job that you must tell people that see you.
Okay. Sure. There's a risk involved. The risk involved is that if you shop from Daily Income Stores and no one else shop from that store, the store cannot pay us because
that particular store now.
That particular store. It's not Ponzi scheme, it's not cryptocurrency, it's not charity organization, it's not an NGO. This is a real business opportunity. So, but the question is that would there ever be a time people will not shop from the store? The answer is no. People keep shopping every day. For the past 7 years, this store has been in Nigeria. We are shopping every single day. And of course, the good news is that we get daily income. And I think let him say the final word because we're running out of time.
All right, go ahead. Let me have the final
word. For those sitting at home still doubting, is it real? Is it possible? I want to tell you, for 2 years now, I've been earning this money. The first day I had, I actually doubted it. So for you to be part of this program, like we said, you need to text us enjoy to this number so that we can reserve a seat for you. The numbers
0903 956 3798. 0903 956 3798. 0903 956 3798. 0903 956 3798.
Like we said, you need to text us enjoy to this number so that we can reserve a seat for you. We are going to reply you accordingly.
And you did not tell us last year, John, all expense paid trip because he's actually
Was he on the trip?
Yeah, last year.
Of course.
All
expense paid trip.
Also coming. I saw his name already.
He's okay.
So for those that want to be part of this program,
I love those of us who just came in to go.
That's a good one.
Let me get your last word, Fem.
All right, for me, I would like to say seeing is believing. Don't just sit back home and hear this program on radio and ask questions to yourself. If you have any questions, just come to Daily Income Stores. Bring all the questions, bring all your reservations to Daily Income Stores. Everything will be taken care of.
Okay, for my own, the final word is that the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be tomorrow is action. You cannot always complain about the economy, you cannot always complain about the government, you cannot complain about everything. You have the right to take action, you have the right to take decision to do different things to get a different result. So if I want to be part of this event, what we have is for the first 100 people that will be at the program. Just send the word enjoy.
The numbers
0903 956 3798. 0903 956 3798. 0903 956 3798.
See you there. God bless you. Remain blessed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome to the program. Let's talk. Flood has become a major issue in our society. Was there no proper drainage done for this flood? For this flood to be done? And it got me thinking.
You see how difficult it is for them. Not all hosts know about the game. Hello and welcome to your number one news and talk radio station, Today 95.1 FM. We've got loads of news and gossip for you, but first off, let's go on a commercial break.
Radio has never been this good. Today,
glad you know now.
It's that time on radio. Let's take you into the life and times of men and women who inspire, role models who have shaped the world.
He was a great scholar whose relevance surpasses the shores of Nigeria and Africa. His name is Senator Dr. Obiwali. Obiwali was born on 27th February 1932 in Rumigbo Town, headquarters of the Apara Kingdom in Obiakpon local government area of Rivers State. He was called Obiajunwo at birth, being the first surviving child of his parents, Chief Frank Wali Otubo and Mrs. Jenny Wali, a granddaughter of the prominent Ezebunwo Waduba of Orowokwo, Rebisi in Port Harcourt. He started his primary education at the Holy Trinity School, Rumapara, very close to his father's compound, from 1938 to 1943. Thereafter, he acquired printing skills as well as organizing evening classes for the Standard 6 candidates in 1946. Dr. Wali was later admitted to the prestigious West African Institute, Calabar, in Cross River State in 1947. His parents became uncomfortable with the distance between them and their only son and therefore changed his school to St. Augustine's Anglican Grammar School, Nkwere, in Imo State, where he wrote the Cambridge School Certificate Examination and passed in Division 1. Between 1952 and 1955, he was offered a job at the Tropical Testing Establishment in Port Harcourt as a lab assistant, which he rejected, and later got a job as a clerk at the Residence Office in Cameroon, where he also gained typing skills. In 1955, he gained admission into the Premier University College, Ibadan, where he earned a BA in English Language and Literature with second-class upper division. After his graduation, Wali worked with the Federal Civil Service as an administrator with the Ministry of Works and Survey, Lagos in 1959, and later got a job with the University of Ibadan as an assistant lecturer in the Department of English. Thereafter, he transferred to the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, where he taught courses including Introduction to African Literature. Wali presented his paper in 1962 at the Makerere University, Uganda, at the first major conference on New African Writing at the institution. The well-known paper was later published in the 10th issue of the Transition magazine. Wali obtained his master's degree in English and Literature in 1963 at the Northwestern University, Everton, USA, and his doctorate degree in 1967 in the same subject. The outbreak of Nigerian civil war in July 1967 and the creation of Rivers State fueled Wali's interest in politics. He was one of the founding fathers of Rivers State, Nigeria, and served as its first Commissioner for Education under the DSP's administration. In 1975, Zamani Luckworth, the then military head of Rivers State, appointed him the chairman of the Governing Council of the Rivers State Technology. He was also elected councillor in 1977 for Ward 26, comprising Rumigbo, Rumepericum and Rumarasi communities in Port Harcourt City local government area. In 1978, Dr. Wali joined partisan politics as member of the then Nigerian People's Party, NPP, and became one of the 6 deputy chairmen of the party. He was also appointed member of the 1978 Constituent Assembly and a member of the Constitution Drafting Committee that drafted the 1979 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Wali was elected senator representing Port Harcourt Senatorial District in 1979, and in 1980 he was elected the minority leader of the House of Senate, Federal Republic of Nigeria. As a politician, he is most remembered for championing the cause of the Ikwere ethnic minorities in Nigeria. Senator Wale was one of the best-known leaders from the Niger Delta region to consistently campaign against the marginalization of the Niger Delta people, particularly the Ikwere ethnic nationality. He fought for the creation of Port Harcourt State out of the then River State, Nigeria. While he campaigned for the correction of the imbalances in the socio-economic and political power of the Nigerian state throughout his political career, he is also remembered for his call for a critical examination of Nigeria's commitment to the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Besides his contribution to the politics of Nigeria, Wale also contributed immensely to the literary works in the African hemisphere and globally. When in 1963, he contributed his controversial essay, The Dead End of African Literature, where he declared that literatures written in European languages did not qualify as African literature, although Chinua Achebe opposed his opposition. Other African literary giants accepted his works, such as Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who later changed his name to a traditional African name, following Wale's argument. Wale was violently murdered and dismembered at home in his bedroom by a suspected hired assassin on April 26, 1993. The reason for the murder remained unestablished. However, many speculated that it was in connection with his political opinions. Some notable statesmen were accused of complicity in Wale's murder, and he was later buried on 24 February 1994. In 2014, the Obi Wale International Conference Center was opened to the public in Port Harcourt, River State, created and named in the memory of Obi Wale's political and literary contributions to the state. And finally, the Ikwere people organized an annual memorial lecture in Obi Wale's honor.
Personality profile. Now you know.
Talk radio.
This is Today 95.1 FM. To copy this tune, press 9.
This is Today 95.1 FM.
For current news and information, press 5.
They are politicians, all of them. They know what they do.
So they know how they attack each other.
To stay connected all day, press 1.
The person who raised the alarm is the one who made the public know about
Good afternoon and welcome to the World News on your Premium Talk Radio station.
We are your Premium Talk Radio station. Today 95.1 FM, the station with a unique dial.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
All right, good evening to you. It is 29 minutes gone past the hour of 6, and it is time for Doctors in the House. Yes, you're tuned in to your Premium Talk radio station. Today, 95.1 FM. Yeah, I forgot that for a bit, but forgive me. You're tuned to Today 95.1 FM, your Premium Talk radio station. I am Kalada, and it is time for us to talk to a doctor on some important, very important issue. Good evening to you, Dr. Emmanuel Wobo.
Good evening, Canada. And good evening, everyone listening to us.
Welcome, Doctor. Today, we will be talking about, we will be continuing from where we stopped 2 weeks ago, and that has to do with the sickle cell anemia. And, we will be talking about, the characteristics, and probably, I'm just getting to understand that there is some sort of cure, and would I call it cure?
Yeah,
Can I call it cure? Yeah.
Cure.
So there's some sort of cure. Every day we learn. Every day there's a new invention. There's a breakthrough in the the health sector, and yes, there's now some sort of cure for people who are suffering, or is it suffering? Like call it suffering? Yeah, we're suffering from the sickle cell anemia. Once again, welcome, Dr. Emmanuel Wobo.
Thank you.
All right, so over to you.
Yes.
First of all, let's refresh our memories. What is the sickle cell anemia, and what are some of the symptoms?
Yeah. Sickle cell anemia is a chronic disease.
All right.
A genetic disease. Chronic because it's not off and on, it is just there. Genetic because the trait for the disease is transmitted from parents to offspring.
All right.
The disease could be heterozygous or homozygous. But
Yes, come again.
I'll explain that.
Yes, come again.
Homozygous in the sense that the sufferer can acquire the abnormal gene from both parents.
Okay.
That's homozygous.
All right.
It could be heterozygous, where the sufferer acquires the abnormal gene from only one parent. Now, when the sufferer acquires the abnormal gene, that is hemoglobin S, from one parent, that is AS, it has a trait. That's heterozygous. When the sufferer acquires two of the abnormal gene, that's hemoglobin S gene, from both parents, the person end up having SS. That is the homozygous.
Right.
So the SS is what is known as the sickle cell anemia.
Right.
Anemia because their blood level is usually very low, lower than normal, although they have what we call steady state, at which blood level they usually survive and they stay out of crisis. Or however, the blood level is lower than others. So it is sickle because when they are exposed to conditions that cause deoxygenation,
right,
and that is another term I have to explain. Deoxygenation,
lack of oxygen, yeah,
lack of oxygen. So the hemoglobin inside the red cell begin to sickle, and as that hemoglobin inside the red cell begin to sickle, the red cell changes shape.
Okay.
And normally the red cell passes through vessels in the body, small vessels, and it has the ability to change its shape so that it can pass to any vessels, supply oxygen, because the red cell carries oxygen, supply oxygen to all parts of the body. But when the red cell becomes sickled, it becomes rigid. It's unable to pass through vessels. It becomes trapped in those vessels. As it becomes trapped in those vessels, it prevents blood from going after the area where it was trapped, and also prevent blood from coming out of the area where it was trapped. So waste product of metabolism is accumulated, causing pain. You know, most people with sickle cell anemia will tell you that one of their common problem is pain. Complain of bone pain, joint pains, because of the sickling of those cells. So when these people are exposed to conditions that can cause deoxygenation, such as dehydration, that is lack of enough water or not taking enough water, or a fever or extreme cold as we have now, or stress of any kind, or an infection, the red cell will begin to sickle and may predispose them to such conditions. Such condition in sickle cell is called crisis.
Crisis.
Yes, it's usually a painful crisis.
And not Syria crisis, by the way.
Yes.
Not Calabari crisis.
So it's known as sickle cell crisis.
Right.
So these people suffer this thing, and remember when I define it, I say it's a chronic disease. They suffer it for life. You know, most times there's some myth out there. Somebody say you can outgrow sickle cell.
I was going to ask you the next question.
But the truth is,
before you continue, really, is there any particular age where you get to, and you no longer get to fall into as much crisis as you would have when you were younger?
Okay, now there are two things you have to understand. One, there's what we call adaptation.
Okay.
Adaptation in the sense that you know the way you adjust yourself to what you know yourself about.
Okay. So you know the factors that might lead to crisis.
You know the factors that lead to crisis,
and then you
by
know
education you begin to avoid them.
Yeah.
Your crisis may be less, but that does not mean that your genotype have changed or you have outgrown it.
Oh, I see.
Because if a genetic problem is there, you can, when you have siblings, you can, when you have offsprings, you can still pass the genetic problem to them.
Yes,
so you don't outgrow it, it don't disappear.
But the point is, when people say outgrow, we know how do I put it in, what's the word now? We know how to spoil the English language in this part of the world. So maybe when someone says outgrow, it means that the person no longer really falls into crisis. Because, for example, when you see a kid who's a sickle cell patient, he falls ill, maybe little rain, and the person is having a crisis, is having an attack, or a little play, the person's having an attack, a little stress. Because I have a few friends who are sickle celled, and a little energy being used and they are falling sick. But then I believe it gets to a point where sometimes they go for a very long period of time without having this crisis
Of course.
because they are able to manage, these factors that will lead to a crisis.
Of course. So that doesn't mean that they have outgrown it, but rather education has come in.
All right.
And they are not acting out of education. Knowledge is power.
All right.
Knowledge put into power, knowledge put into action is more power. So these people are gaining more knowledge as they are growing.
Do we teach the younger versions, the younger people with this disease or sickness? Do we teach them how to manage their ailment?
Yes.
Because I have a lot of them. I know young ones who they're just so vibrant, just out there. They don't care, and after a while, I'm having an attack.
There's something about knowledge. You decide to act on knowledge, or you ignore knowledge. So I work in the hematology department, adult hematology.
All right.
So at adult hematology, those we see are patients 18 years and above.
All right.
So sickle cell has been there, started manifesting at least from 3 months of age. Until they come to meet me at about 18 months. So between 3 months of age to 18 months, most of them have met pediatrician hematologists who have explained the condition to them,
parents.
have told them the predisposing condition to the crisis, dehydration being the commonest, and some of them have been told that you need to drink at least 3 liters per day, exercise less, and make sure that you take some certain precautions. So, and some of them have also known how to stick to their routine medications, because they have some routine medication, take folic acid, take vitamin C,
Really? On a regular?
On a regular basis, daily.
Okay.
So some of them those of them that do that, the crisis reduces. Some of them also are some kind of medications, so hydroxyurea. It reduces the crisis level, so those people can live crisis free for a while.
All right. Before we get into, because I would really like you to educate. That's why we're having this show. We would go back to things they can do to avoid crisis, but let's do a little bit of mathematics before we get there. Now, ASAS, like you said, the offspring takes, one of the genes from the parents, or one of the parents, and take another from. So now there is the possibility that, AS parents, I mean, a couple, AS, can have AA as an offspring.
Yes.
And they can have SS as an offspring.
Of
and
course.
they can have AS as an offspring.
Yes.
Is there any technology or any health breakthrough that can help us, how do I put it now? That can help us solve the formula right from when the baby is yet to be formed. Is there any way we can say, okay, instead of the baby picking S from one parent and picking another S from another parent, we can use that technology to ensure that the offspring takes only the A genes from both parents? Is there any possibility like that?
Yes, of course.
Interesting.
So, let me tell you. Now, if an AS marries an AS, well, let me begin from the fact that you can advise people. Ahead of a state, we are discussing in one of the conferences ahead of a state that made a law that if an AS marries an AS,
yes, I've heard it. I've heard it.
Why do you do that? One, we should also have to know that it's not only this sickle cell that the children suffer. There's some other disease we don't even talk about in the open. Hemophilia.
What's that?
The hemophilia is a blood disease that is passed from the mother to the sons. So how do you screen for that? Let's leave that aside. So if an AS wants to marry an AS, what you have to do is to advise. And what advice and counsel? What is counsel? Counsel is leading somebody to solve his problem by himself or herself. It's not you solving the problem, because what's your guarantee that the other person is going to marry? There are so many things confounding marriage situation that you just allow people to make their choice.
Right.
But if AS have married AS already, that's where I am now. But if AS have not married AS, you can think about it and make your own decision. That's one. But I want to answer your question. I'm coming. Now, AS have married AS. Now, there is a probability of each of the pregnancy. Each of the pregnancy
being all AA.
Being AA, AS, and SS.
Right.
Now, the probability for SS is 50%.
All right.
The probability for AA is about 25%.
Interesting.
And AS another 25%.
All right.
Now, what it means is that the probability of having an SS is higher than having an AS. An AS may not have symptoms because the presence of the A makes up for
quells,
the other.
yeah,
makes up
quells-
for the
quells the
other
other,
A,
yeah.
other A that is
Yeah.
absent.
Yeah.
Because the A alone dilutes the S.
All right.
But where there is no A, it's not SS.
Mm.
Now, it's either each pregnancy is an A, AS, or S. It is not that the first pregnancy was SS. Let me go for the second one. Most likely it might be AA. No.
It might still be
each
SS.
pregnancy, yes. Each pregnancy has
I know,
its own
I know that.
probability. Now, there's what we call fetal DNA testing.
Okay.
Fetal in the sense that the baby is in the womb.
Yeah.
The woman has been pregnant because somebody
Yeah.
who has a woman that has AS or SS or that has a hemoglobinopathy problem is a high risk, and such a pregnancy should not be attended to in private hospitals. Sorry, in primary hospitals. It can be attended to in very good private
As
hospitals.
in tertiary
Tertiary
health
center.
institutions.
It's
All right.
health institution where you can make the diagnosis and manage very well. Where you have a obstetrician and gynecologist, functional. That's where they can operate. Because the moment the woman becomes pregnant, in the first 8 weeks, interventions can be done. Samples can be collected from that baby in utero, inside the womb. The investigation can be done here in Nigeria.
Right.
Sample can be collected. When the sample is collected, it is the genotype of that baby is tested for while in the womb. If it is AA, the pregnancy is allowed to go to term. If it is AS, pregnancy is allowed to go to term. But if the genotype of that baby is SS, pregnancy is not allowed to go to term. So, but however, after
Is there any possibility to change it? That's the question.
no,
I
you
ask.
cannot change it.
So there's no technology that can alter that DNA.
You cannot. That's one solution.
All right.
So at that point, in less than 8 weeks, they can do that. But after 13 weeks, it becomes confusing, and it's not ethical to do such kind of termination. That's
All
one.
right.
And then the second is that somebody who have a hemoglobinopathy, couples that have a hemoglobinopathy can decide that we were not going to have our own offspring.
All right.
We might do an IVF.
Yeah.
So the woman donates or the man donates the sperm, the woman donates the egg, and
Interesting.
then they go to the lab and find another.
Okay. Now that's interesting. That's I mean, that seems like a revelation to me. I just felt like I've been enlightened beyond. So there's a possibility where they could use IVF.
Of course.
And then, there is some sort of search for the positive, let me use that word now, the positive
from another parent, from another donor. One of the parents, either the male or the female, may donate the male may donate the sperm, the female may donate the egg. Then you look for another match outside them to make it up and implant it back into the woman. It's her baby.
Right.
It's her baby.
I know how the IVF thing is surrogate mother and all of that. But my point is, that's a wonderful solution to it. So why are people not enlightened about it? Because in this part of the world, they just tell you. I mean, I have a friend who just left his girlfriend, because both of them are AS. That's like basically what is done in this part of the world. They tell you you're AS, both of you cannot marry.
No, you see, Kakalada, while we are discussing in that conference and we are talking about the state government that put a law to jail people who are AS, marrying AS, I just feel like these people are not thinking out of the box.
All right.
One, information is very important.
All right.
You have to inform the public. You cannot carry what you are supposed to do for the public and push it back to them. Because if you give them enough information, and see, you can marry, but leave the African sentiment of, because you are my wife, I must pregnant you. But you have to consider, why are you marrying this person? Marriage is not only for reproduction, but marriage is for company. Okay, I love this person, I want to get married to this person. You can now decide, okay, this is our method of childbearing, so that children may not suffer what we suffer. So you have solved one problem on one side.
All right. Okay, so is there any other breakthrough in the medical world, that can actually help us handle this issue, apart from the two you've listed out?
Okay, the others I cannot mention here because they are still under trial.
Okay, but these two have been certified universally to be a workable.
It's accepted.
All right, wonderful. I feel excited. I don't even know I'm AA, but I feel excited for them who are AS. I mean, it's really a very important breakthrough. But then again, what are some of the what's the word now? What are some of those things these people who have sickle cell anemia, what are some of those things that they can do to actually handle and manage the situation so they don't fall into crisis, so they don't fall into, that stage where they have to visit the doctor?
Okay. Thank you. One, we have to know that why is there crisis? There's crisis because there is deoxygenation.
All right.
When the cells are deoxygenated, the hemoglobin in the red cell sickle.
Yeah.
When they sickle, the crisis will begin. Now, what are the causes of those deoxygenating states or conditions? One, dehydration.
Dehydration.
Yes, dehydration. That is when you don't have enough water in your body. Remember that we live in the tropical area. There is high amount of sun, unlike in other western part of the world where you see the temperature is like
it's so
13,
cold,
14. You are not losing more, but when your environment is high, you are losing more water, insensible water loss. So you have to top up and increase your water intake at least 3 liters per day.
Now, for a normal, when I say normal, someone who's without sickle cell,
yes,
they say 1 liter per day, yeah?
No,
is
1
it?
liter per day is too
Sorry,
small.
how many liters? Correct me.
2.5. Some people say 3, but 3 liters per day for someone with sickle cell and someone without sickle cell is okay.
Okay, so for both you know, categories,
yes,
3 liters.
3 liters per day minimum.
Okay, I should up my game then. 3 liters of water. All right, that's about 3 big.
One big
bottle.
No, it's 2. One big one is 1.5. Another one is 1.5.
And just
so the small ones are 50.
For security's sake, three big boxes, 3 big bottles.
So that's
all
one.
right.
They have to drink.
Yeah,
they have to drink. Then the 2, rest. The most people don't understand what you mean by rest. You just have to rest. Sometimes you have to sleep, close your eyes, and rest your muscles, rest your back, because the more you are walking, the more you are sapping yourself energy, when you're getting yourself dehydrated. So after walking for a while, you just have to rest, have to take some break. Then number 2, infection control.
All right.
Infection control, because if there's an infectious process going on in your body, the metabolic rate of your body is increased. And if the metabolic rate is increased, there is loss of energy, including water.
And when you say infection control, like malaria?
Yes, you have to manage malaria, because sickle cell patients, they are advised to take at least 1 tablet of paludrin. Paludrin is like a prophylaxis for anti-malaria daily, because if malaria infect their red cell, the red cell will lyse more compared to those who don't have the sickle cell anemia.
Sorry, but then again, if they are to take drugs every day, would it not affect is it the liver or the kidney? There's the saying that when you take excess drugs, it affects some of the organs.
It's not all drugs. There are some drugs we call nephrotoxic drugs.
Okay,
these are the drugs that affect the kidney.
All right.
But however, the drugs that we give to sickle cell patients, routine medications, have been proven not to affect. In fact, that been proven to extend the life
of the organs,
sickle cell patients.
Yeah. All right.
Because the red cells are constantly broken down, and they need minerals to reproduce.
All right.
That's the bone marrow need minerals to reproduce more of these red cells that have been broken down. So the vitamins that are given to them will help them to get more of those red cells that has been broken down.
Are these drugs very expensive?
They are not expensive. Folic acid, very cheap drugs. Folic acid. There's nobody that cannot purchase folic acid.
Then why? Because I like I said, I know quite a few. I wouldn't call names now, but I don't really see them taking drugs every day.
Well, do you live with them from morning to night?
Some of them are close friends, and really.
Well, some of them is acting out of ignorance, because if you don't take because if your blood level, let's say if your blood level is low, your bone marrow will produce more of the blood to compensate for the low level.
All right.
And for the blood to be ready, there are other nutrients that have to be there. Although the body produces erythropoietin, now the body needs folic acid to produce more blood. Now, there is already iron in the body of the sickle cell, because in the body of the sickle cell patient, because the red cell break, the iron is reliable, but folic acid is lost. So they need more of the folic, because if the folic is not produced, the cells produced by the marrow will be anemic.
I see.
Yeah, it wouldn't be normal. So they need more of the folic acid. So folic acid is very important for them. Vitamin C and the B complex.
All right.
Very important too. So these are cheap medications that they can take. So whoever that is a sickle cell patient that is not taking this medication, is just acting out of ignorance. So you need to take your medications daily, because some people are hypertensive patients. We advise them take your medication daily. Some are HIV positive patients, be managed, take your drugs daily.
All
so
right.
there are certain conditions that you just need to take your daily to help yourself.
All right. So first of all, we talked about drinking 3 liters of water every day. What else again do we talk about? Managing infections.
Infection control, yeah. And rest.
And rest, all right. So are there any other...
Yes, and then warmth. For example, the weather is very cold. You have to be... even not just because of a sickle cell individual, but everybody, you need to cover yourself properly so that you don't develop cold.
All right.
Because if you develop cold, it will cause more of dehydration and then affect your cells.
All right, we will be back shortly. Let's go for a commercial break. When we return, we will be talking about some news. Will I call it cure? Yeah, he said I should call it cure. Some new cure that is expensive though, but it's still worth it. I'll be right back.
Please listen to this announcement. Fertility Awareness Month, Fertility Awareness Month, Fertility Awareness Month. Fertile 24 Fertility Center presents a free fertility consultation for fertility cases to every man and woman who visit our office in the month of July 2019. Our office is located at number 1 Chivamadu Street off Ada George, Port Harcourt. You can also visit our website at www.fertile24.com and enjoy free nationwide delivery when you place an order. For inquiries, please call 081 85 80 1242 081 85 80 1242.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
All right, I've been, told to break the rule once again, and I'm going to be opening the phone lines. You can call if you have any questions, if you have any, questions, and you want the doc in the house to, give you answers to. You can call, and the numbers are 0817-000-0951. I'll take it again, 0817-000-0951 and 0810-951-0951. You can call in and ask any question relating to the sickle cell anemia, and the doc in the house, which is Dr. Emmanuel Wobo, who will give you answers. We've been talking for about roughly 20-something minutes, and we've been, talking about how we can manage. According to him, he said we can actually manage the sickle cell anemia and not fall into crisis. And there are certain things. He said drink a lot of water, 3 liters at least. Manage yourself so you don't have to exert so much energy. That is rest. Rest is very important. And of course, Teddy said, make sure you don't get infected. Not just malaria, not just malaria. Like, make sure you manage your environment well so it's clean and, there's no much dust. There's, clean toilets so you don't get infected and all of that stuff. We also talked about the fact that, you can actually go to the hospital, while the child is still in the womb and do some little technological things and and then you'll be able to make sure your offspring does not fall with, the SS, sickle cell anemia disease. But finally, while we were off air, before we started the show, he told me about some stem
cell transplant.
Stem cell transplant. All right, we'll get back to that. Let's first of all take this phone call. 95.1 FM.
Canada. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Quickly, before I even...
lost in yet?
Yes. No, before I even ask the question, I wonder, they say you weave your hair. Your hair weaved.
That was old. That was a long time ago.
Okay. I was hearing it and I was wondering.
That was last week. That was last week.
That was like, yes, because the man was saying you weave your hair.
All right. Let's go to what we're talking about.
Okay. Doctor, greetings.
Good evening.
Yes, doctor, quickly, I want to ask you 2 questions. One, I don't know, but I just want you to at least enlighten us. The first question is, I don't know. Some people say that there is a particular IVF that picks up the SSL in the process before it is, carried out. I don't know how true is that.
I think, okay.
Second, yes, they said that there's a particular one that is more expensive than the normal one. That's what they said. I don't know. You need to clear us on that.
All right.
But the technology, they can pick out the SS whatever.
Okay, second question then.
The second question is, I don't know. Some people, a friend of mine said his sister and her husband, the children, while they are still small, they are SS, but according to him, they take them to India and remove it, and they become normal. So I don't know how true is that. Please,
all right, we'll get to that. First of all, I think the doc has explained a little bit on the IVF and said that you can actually, when the baby is within 6 weeks. Okay.
IVF is when you collect from surrogate.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I missed. Okay, yeah, sorry. Just listen. He's gonna explain it. See, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a journalist, please. All right, go ahead, Dr. Emmanuel.
Okay, thank you so much for your questions. Two questions. One, the first question concerning IVF. Now, when you talk about IVF, you are talking about assisted conception.
All right.
Now, before the sperm or the egg that has been taken is being re-implanted, that's as an embryo into the
surrogate womb,
into the mother. Those sperm cells and eggs are being treated. Now, part of the treatment are different, they are varied. But when it comes to sickle cell anemia, what we have to understand is, if an egg is produced from a woman that has a hemoglobinopathy, that is an AS or an SS, and also sperm is being produced from a man that has a hemoglobinopathy, AS or SS. Now, when the egg and the sperm combine in the process of fertilization to produce embryo, now it is at that point where you can do the testing. In other words, it's not that the way we put it in the lay term, you just go and pick at something. No, when the embryo is formed, it is the embryo that you can do your DNA testing to know the genotype of the embryo before you implant. If the genotype of the embryo is SS, which is usually not what you want, you don't implant.
You don't implant,
You continue trying until you get the embryo that has genotype of AS or AA, then you implant.
Which is 25% according to what you calculated last time.
You cannot implant into the mother. That's it.
All right.
That's the answer to that question. Then number two, you talked about somebody that took the child to India and the
four of them.
Of course, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stem cell transplant. It is done here in Nigeria now. Stem cell transplant is done in Nigeria, especially for children that are less than 16 years. It's not somewhere in Benin. Children that are less than 16 years. Now, what do we do in stem cell transplant? Some chemotherapy or radiation is given to that child. And when that is done, it ablates the marrow. We get stem cells, peripheral stem cell, marrow stem cell from the mother or from a volunteer donor that is compatible with that child and transfuse into that child. Then what we have transfused now begin to control.
Sorry, you get what from what donor? Let's break it down.
Peripheral blood stem cells. Stem cells are like the origin of all the blood cells in your body. So when you get some of those stem cells from, just like, stem cells like a transplant. Somebody can donate their heart to you. Somebody can donate lungs to you.
All right.
Now, these stem cells are like part of your bone marrow that produces your blood. You can donate some of them to somebody else.
All right.
If you are compatible with the person, with respect to HLA testing, that's like what we used to know who can donate to another person. So when you donate to somebody else, just like your donated liver or donated heart or whatever organ you donate begins to live and thrive in the person donated, the stem cells can also do that in another person. So what it does, since you have collected from a normal person, it thrives and begins to produce only normal cells. So the person who have before been known to have a sickle cell anemia now begin to produce normal cells. The person will no longer produce sickle cell. But however, what you have done is not a genetic treatment.
Right.
You have only affected the periphery. So the person's genotype, so to speak,
still remains.
So the person has to now know, in respect to the decision of marriage, who to marry or not to marry. But however, the person is now free
of
sickling disease.
Oh my.
Yes.
Oh my. So the person is free from crisis.
The person is free from crisis.
Well, so if the person is free from crisis, if the person is to, let's say, marry another AS, will the person still pass from his own? I'm not talking about from his own, from the, what do you call it? No, I'm talking from his partner now. From his own part.
Of course.
Will he still be able to pass down?
Yes, of course. You pass your genes. Your genes are your genes.
But the genes have been, I don't know.
No, what we did is like a transplant.
All right.
You know, when if someone transplant, if someone donates, let's say, one kidney to you, your character is your character. Your genetic makeup is your genetic makeup. What was given to you?
All right.
Thank you so much.
Well, I have one last call, please. And 95.1 FM.
Hello, Canada, it's still me.
Oh, Lawson, yeah, welcome.
Yes, please. I need him to clear something for me. The stem cell that we are talking about.
Yeah.
Is it possible that this same stem cell can be taken from plants? Thank you.
I don't
Okay,
understand.
no. It's not, because when we talk about stem cell transplant,
Yeah.
just like you will not take the liver of a cow
and put in a human being. Yeah, it's
so
not
we are
possible.
talking
Yeah.
about allogenic stem cell transplant that is collecting from one human being to another human being. So
All
we
right.
deal with human beings for
All right.
now. Thank
All
you.
right. 95.1. Hello, can you speak up, please? I can hear you.
Good evening, Canada.
Good evening. Yeah, good evening. What's your name?
I'm Sister Pat.
You are?
Sister Pat.
Sister Pat, I need you to up your volume, please. We're struggling to hear you in the studio. Sister Pat, welcome.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear now. Talk to me.
Doctor, is there any way somebody that is AA, maybe later, a person will now become AS?
Okay.
All right.
I got your question. Thank you very much for asking that question.
Yeah.
Somebody was AA, become AS. You know, in the hospital, I've had such kind of situation. The mother walked up to me and said, "This child is SS." When I did my test before marriage, they told me that I was AA. My husband was AS, I know, but this child is not SS. Where did he get the second S? I know you can get the first S from one of them, but where did he get? So the woman repeated her genotype and it was AS.
All right.
Now the question is, did the genotype change from AA to AS? And my answer to that question is no.
All right.
The genotype didn't change. Probably the first investigation was not done
Thoroughly,
well. Maybe
yeah.
there was some kind of laboratory error, sample collection error, some errors that I may not know because
It
I
could
was
be a
the one
mix-up.
that- A
It could be
mix-up
a
of
mix-up,
sample,
yeah.
mix-up of result. So your genotype does not change from AA to AS. So whatever is your genotype, that's your genotype. You just know how to manage yourself and how to take your treatment.
All right, so we've taken 3 minutes into the other show, so we need to call it a wrap. At this point, we need to call it a wrap. So, any final words?
Yes. My final word is that know your genotype.
All right.
Because if you are an adult, 18 years old, 14 years old, sorry, if you are an adolescent, 18 and above, or an adult, 20 something and above, and you don't know your genotype, you are doing yourself more harm than good. Because AS individual don't have sickle cell crisis, and another AS will not have sickle cell, and they can marry. And the moment they marry, they can produce an SS. Now, you know, in this part of the world where we are, people do genotype some days before marriage. Cards have been sent out. Everybody know that the wedding is next week. The church now come and tell them, what's the genotype? They go and do their genotype, and the genotype for one person is AS, or both of them AS. They begin to find it difficult. Are we going to call off the marriage? We have invited people. We have done that. We have done this. Let's just go ahead. Let's just go on. Out of shame, out of ignorance, or whatever. We just go. We will handle it later. And they begin to produce SS. So, but for an adolescent that is just 18, 19, going out with people in a date, just know your genotype. You can, before you go to find relationship, please, my dear, what's the genotype?
But now, sorry, I know that I said there's no time, but now with the, IVF and the other, method, the other, what do you call it? Breakthrough.
Transplant.
Yeah, no, not the transplant, the other one, the first one you mentioned, which has to do with
DNA.
Fetal DNA. With those two, don't you think now that AS can actually, go ahead and do
Canada.
Yeah.
You know, they say prevention is better than cure. That's what we have to have in mind.
But we love we can do cure.
Prevention is better than cure. And these investigations I've mentioned now, I didn't tell you the price.
Right.
Stem cell transplant is about 10 million here in the country. Outside the country is more than that.
Yeah.
Then the IVF is an expensive
I
procedure.
see.
Your fetal DNA sampling to choose is also expensive.
I see.
So you just have to know how to overcome all these expenses, and the simplest way to do that
is prevention.
To prevent it.
Yeah.
But why I mentioned those options are for those who didn't know and they are already married. So they are the people that need this, what I'm talking about. But somebody who is not yet married, based on what I've just said in studio today, you have made up your mind and say I will continue what no, but that is not the reason why I came here. The reason why I came here is that every other person who is not yet married, know your genotype.
All right.
And then make your selection from there. But if you have a hemoglobinopathy, you are married to another person, don't try to break up. Don't try to destroy the marriage. Don't cause confusion. Don't cause problem. There are certain ways you can go through situation, and both of you live happily.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in, Dr. Mama Wobo. This has been Doctor in the House and very educative. Very educative. You want to join us? You want to... Sorry? Oh, now Dr. Noble decides to talk. Dr. Noble decides to talk. All right. But like I said, join us next week for another educative session. It promises to be educative, trust me. All right, then keep listening to Today 95.1 FM, and thank you very much for staying tuned.
Good to have you here. Representatives from Daily Income, Engineer Offer Monday. He's the MD CEO, Funny Vision Nigeria Limited. Good to have you here.
Good morning.
Mr. Gabriel Hero, entrepreneur.
Thank you. Good morning.
Engineer Victor Etin. Good to have all of you here. For the sake of the so many who have not heard this, and I'll be surprised if they haven't, but for the sake of those who haven't, what is Daily Income Stores?
Okay, for those who are tuning in for the first time to this frequency, Daily Income Store is a physical store here. Of course, that all you need to do is to walk into this store to do your own shopping. Of course, and then after your shopping, you have to drop your account details. Why do you have to do that? So that as other people are shopping from that same store, you'll be getting daily income or daily alert. And the good news is that this store sells things that we cannot do without. For example, you are hearing me right now. You cannot stay without not brushing your mouth. You're going to use chewing stick or toothpaste. You cannot stay without not taking your bath. You're going to use solid soap, liquid soap, or solid soap. That means human being daily needs and want cannot be satisfied. All these things are available in daily income stores. Your normal daily needs and want, things you cannot do without. So all you need to do is to walk into daily income stores only once in a year to do your shopping. Then you drop your account details. As other people are shopping after you from the same store, you'll be getting daily income. We are already 13 years in over 100 countries. We are already 7 years in Nigeria. And we are telling you we are holding a big business event because some people don't know about this. That are holding a training to show them how things work. And of course, if you are already hearing me and you're looking forward to have an extra income, looking forward to have a project, for financing a project, you need money to actually take it to a level. We can show you this opportunity. You go to daily income stores, you do your shopping. Of course, you drop your account details. As other people are shopping after you, you'll be getting daily income. So if you're interested to be part of this event, we're going to give you details more soon.
What makes this store different? What's the innovation? What's special about daily income stores?
Honestly speaking, I've been saying this over and over again. What makes us different is this. Traditionally, walk into any store, what you do is that you give money in exchange for goods or services. That's what you do traditionally. And of course, you walk out of the store. Transaction has been completed. But in daily income stores, you don't just give money in exchange for goods or services. The company will give you an opportunity to drop your account details. That's what makes us different. Okay. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us quite called that advancement in technology. That is the innovation about our business.
All right then. So shop and then drop your account details. And as people shop after you
in that same particular store, not all the stores.
That's okay. Not all the stores.
Not all the stores.
Okay.
There's a particular store you go to do your shopping. This store is already 7 years in Nigeria.
Mr. Gabriel Hero, how real is this? How true is this? Has this happened to you before?
For me, my experience with daily income stores is phenomenal. And that's because as a business coach and a mentor, I'm always very keen to know the root of everything I'm into, especially when I look at the relationship between myself and the people I'm mentoring. So at Daily Income Stores, I've come to realize that for every budding entrepreneur, they have the necessary business skill that's required of anybody who wants to go out there and make money. And you're not just making money, in today's world, there's what we call sustainable development. And for you to have a sustainable development, you have to think of a sustainable text something. Enjoy, yes. So I was keen to really enjoy the ride with Daily Income. So I got there, I sat down, I listened to everything. Their seminar presentation was awesome. And the guys were very nice with me as a person. So at the end, I asked a few questions and they answered me adequately. Then I shopped, and after shopping, they asked me to drop my account number, which was something I've never seen before. And I thought, is this for online? I said, okay, let me just drop the account number. So I did. I left the account number with them. Got their product home. Their products were very awesome. The product, the beverages, everything were wonderful. Share with my neighbors, and they loved it. Then a few days later, I got an alert in my phone. And it was from Telecom. So at that point, I was convinced that for real, this thing is legitimate. This thing is real.
It's real.
And people are actually making a lot of money at Daily Income Stores.
Okay, good. So I'm also going to ask Mr. Victor now to share his experience.
All right, thank you very much. My humble self, I actually heard about Daily Income Stores on radio. Actually, it was on a Saturday because I worked in one of the multinationals, and I don't work on Saturdays. So it was on a Saturday. I tuned to my radio. I heard about Daily Income Stores, where you shop once, you drop your account number, you get paid as other customer shops after you. Of course, the first day I heard, I doubted it. I did not believe it. I was wondering how possible was it that you go and shop, then you get paid as other customer shops from the same store. It was the second Saturday I heard about it again. I said, okay, a question came to me, have you not used toothpaste? I answered myself, I've used toothpaste. So why not go and see? I went to the program. On getting there, I saw that the products they actually had were all NAFDA certified, toothpaste, soap, beverages, things that we use every day. Of course, they are packed in hampers. I decided to pick an hamper for myself. Before I left, I dropped my account details. I got home, I told my wife about it. We used the product. It was awesome. Of course, I told all my neighbors and every other person. They Wednesday, they did their shopping. But today, a few days later, I got an alert. I must confess to you that what I'm getting from Daily Income Stores today has been wow. I don't want to mention figures on the air, but for those that are listening.
They're looking at you, you know it's wow. And this has been consistent. As people have continually
as other people keep shopping from the same stores. Of course, so 2 years. That's what I'm saying. For 2 years now, it's not what it's just happening.
Daily Income money 2 years now.
Of course, it's not new. That's why we are here in this city to tell the people about it.
So who can be part of the training?
Actually, we are expecting to see everybody. We are expecting doctors, engineers, commissioners, educated, not educated. As far as you are spending money every day, you deserve to make money every day from Daily Income Stores. At least everybody, of course, need an extra income. And definitely it's a one opportunity for you. I shopped 4 years ago. So I've been getting daily alerts for the past 4 years. So you are doubting, come and see me at the venue of the program. And it's going to happen tomorrow. No African time. By 11 o'clock for the morning section. You cannot come by morning. We have the evening section by 4 p.m. It's an hour training. We have question time for question and answer. For those who want to actually do their shopping, you can do it at the venue of the program. You can pick your packages at the venue of the program. You can always drop your account number. Because bankers are always there for those who don't have account number to open the account. So we have free product for the first 100 participants. No more 10. But we normally have crowds in our program, so we're increased to 100 right now. So if you're interested, just text the word enjoy. For those who want to enjoy in 2019, I think you're going to hear me call the number. Please text the word enjoy.
Just text enjoy to this number
0903 184 5870. That is 0903 184 5870. For the last time, 0903 184 5870.
Okay, so I know that this is fantastic. I mean, you said you've been with it 2 years, you had 4 years, you last year, and then it has been awesome. But as we all know, with every business, there's got to be some risk to it. There must be something about the job that you must tell people that see you.
Okay. Sure. There's a risk involved. The risk involved is that if you shop from Daily Income Stores and no one else shop from that store, the store cannot pay us because
that particular store now.
That particular store. It's not Ponzi scheme, it's not cryptocurrency, it's not charity organization, it's not an NGO. This is a real business opportunity. So, but the question is that would there ever be a time people will not shop from the store? The answer is no. People keep shopping every day. For the past 7 years, this store has been in Nigeria. We are shopping every single day. And of course, the good news is that we get daily income. And I think, let him say the final word because we're running out of time.
All right, go ahead. Let me have the final word.
For those sitting at home still doubting, is it real? Is it possible? I want to tell you, for 2 years now, I've been earning this money. The first day I heard, I actually doubted it. So for you to be part of this program, like we said, you need to text us enjoy to this number so that we can reserve a seat for you. The numbers
0903 184 5870. That is 0903 184 5870. For the last time, 0903 184 5870.
Like we said, you need to text us enjoy to this number so that we can reserve a seat for you. We are going to reply you accordingly.
And you did not tell us last year, John, on all expense trip because you patronized this a lot.
Was he on the trip?
Yeah, last year. All expense trip.
All
And
expense
this year
trip.
is also coming. I saw his name already.
He's
So
okay.
for those that want to be part of this
I
program,
love those of us who just came in to go.
That's a good one.
Let me get your last word, Fem.
All right, for me, I would like to say seeing is believing. Don't just sit back home and hear this program on radio and ask questions to yourself. If you have any question, just come to Daily Income Stores. Bring all the questions, bring all your reservations to Daily Income Stores. Everything will be taken care of.
Okay, for my own, the final word is that the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be tomorrow is action. You cannot always complain about the economy, you cannot always complain about the government, you cannot complain about everything. You have the right to take action, you have the right to take decision to do different things to get a different result. So if you want to be part of this event, it's happening today, no African time, 11 o'clock this morning or 4 p.m. in the evening. Just send the free product we have is for the first 100 people that will be at the program. Just send the word enjoy.
The numbers
0903 184 5870. That is 0903 184 5870. For the last time, 0903 184 5870. That is 0903 184 5870.
We see you there. God bless you. Remain blessed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
This is Today 95.1 FM. To copy this tune, press 9.
This is Today 95.1 FM.
For current news and information, press 5.
They are politicians, all of them. They know what they do.
So they know how they attack each other.
To stay connected all day, press 1.
The person who raised the alarm is the one who made the public know about
Good
it.
afternoon and welcome to the world news on your premium talk radio station.
We are your premium talk radio station. Today 95.1 FM, the station with a unique dial.
Every day on Today 95.1 FM, there's always an opportunity to comment and air your views on our various programs. It's not just about us, it's about you, your opinion, and your voice.
President, don't you think that it's time to step down, sir?
Be part of the story, the gist, reactions, intrigues, and the news.
President Neil Patrick Harris has called for greater regulation.
Give us a feedback or join the conversation on Twitter at TodayFM951. Our Facebook address is Today95.1 FM, or join us on the number 0701 933 9962. That's our WhatsApp application. Be informed, be educated, and have fun. We are Today 95.1 FM, voice of the people. It's that time on radio. Let's take you into the life and times of men and women who inspire, role models who have shaped the world.
Mansa Musa. Now, when we think of the wealthiest people in the world, we most often think of the Waltons of Walmart fame, Warren Buffett, or Bill Gates. However, if you go a bit further back in history, you'll discover that the wealth of kings, queens, and rulers of yesteryear trumps the bank accounts of most modern-day millionaires and even billionaires by a mile. In fact, during his time, one man controlled more wealth than Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and the most wealthy member of the Walton family, Sam Walton, combined. That man was Mansa Musa I. With an adjusted net worth of approximately $400 billion. Musa is without a doubt the richest man to have ever lived. So who was he? And why haven't you heard more about him? Mansa Musa I, born 1280, was the 10th Mansa, which translates as Sultan or King or Emperor of the wealthy West African Mali Empire.
At the time of Musa's rise to the throne, the Malian Empire consisted of territories formerly belonging to the Ghana Empire in the present-day southern Mauritania and in Mele, Mali, and the immediate surrounding areas. Musa held many titles, including Emir of Mele, Lord of the Mines of Wangara, Conqueror of Ghanata, and at least a dozen others. It is said that Mansa Musa had conquered 24 cities, each with surrounding districts containing villages and estates during his reign. Mansa Musa came to be a king in a rather roundabout way. His grandfather, Abu Bakr, was the brother of Sundaita Keita, the man who founded the Malian Empire. Neither Abu Bakr or his son Fagalei ever took the throne, and Mansa Musa was appointed deputy ruler if the king ever went on an extended trip or pilgrimage to Mecca. He was appointed deputy under Abu Bakr II, who had visions of exploring the far reaches of the Atlantic Ocean. Now let me take you to how all of this started. Abu Bakr I set out with 200 boats out into the sea, ordering they do not return from their voyage until they had reached the far side of the Atlantic, or until they ran out of food and water, whichever came first. Quite a long time later, one boat returned with tales of a great whirlpool that had drowned everyone. Abu Bakr II didn't believe the captain's story, so he took 2,000 boats and, appointing himself head of the expedition, set off to find the truth. As the king's deputy, Mansa Musa became ruler in his absence. Abu Bakr II never returned, and Mansa Musa eventually inherited the throne. Much of Musa's wealth came from the production of madrasas and universities, many of which are still standing today. The University of Sankore was built during his time and is still in existence. The quality of life in urban centers such as Timbuktu was vastly superior to other parts of the world at the time, largely due to the availability of work and Musa's control of the gold and salt trades. Mansa Musa is mostly remembered for his extravagant Hajj or pilgrimage to Mecca with, according to Arab historian Al-Umari, 100 camel loads of gold, each weighing 300 pounds, 500 slaves carrying 4-pound gold staff, thousands of his subjects, as well as his senior wife with her 500 attendants. With his lavish spending and generosity in Cairo and Mecca, he ran out of money and had to borrow at usurious rates of interest for the return trip. Al-Umari also states that Mansa Musa and his retinue gave out so much gold that they depressed its value in Egypt and caused its value to fall. When traveling throughout his kingdom on the way to Mecca in 1324, his procession, including 60,000 people along the way, 12,000 of his followers carried 4-pound gold bars, which he gave away to the poor everywhere he went. Now, this caused him to control the price of gold for all of the Mediterranean. He also controlled more than half of the world's salt supply. Between his gold and his salt, traders from as far as Europe made annual trips to his kingdom from Venice, Granada, and Genoa, and this gave him the power to set prices as high as he wanted. The Hajj planted Mali in men's minds, and its riches fired up the imagination as El Dorado did later. In 1339, Mali appeared on a map of the world. In 1367, another map of the world showed a road leading from North Africa through the Atlas Mountains into the Western Sudan. In 1375, a third map of the world showed a richly attired monarch holding a large gold nugget in the area south of the Sahara. Also, trade between Egypt and Mali flourished. In 1330, Morsi invaded Timbuktu, which Musa had annexed in 1325. He quickly recaptured the city, fortifying its boundary with a fort and a standing army. As a major seat for trade in the region, control of Timbuktu meant control of the flow of money. During his reign, Mali grew to have more than 400 bustling cities. Muslim scholars from abroad flocked to the University of Sankore to study, and Musa controlled everything from his massive palace in Timbuktu. which was constructed by architects imported from Andalusia in Spain. He also created one large system of government for most of the Western Sudan. Under his rule, the region was said to exist in complete and general safety. Records of how Musa died vary greatly, so it's unclear whether he died soon after returning from his pilgrimage to Mecca or whether he continued to live for another 10 years. His son, Mansa Magan, became ruler in 1332, and his older brother, Mansa Suleiman, became ruler in 1336. Mansa Musa's period of rule is recorded as 25 years, but whether his reign ended in 1332 because of his death or his resignation, this remains unclear. What is clear is that for over 2 decades, one man almost single-handedly controlled a massively wealthy empire with multiple major trading ports. Mansa Musa is said to have died in 1332, but then he had brought stability and good government to Mali, spreading its fame abroad and making it truly remarkable both for its existence and for its wealth, and a striking example of the capacity of the Negro for political organization. Today, there aren't any billionaires who could command 12,000 people to carry 4-pound bricks of gold on an incredibly long walk, or even billionaires who could affect the price of gold for simply being in charge. Mansa Musa was not only the wealthiest man ever to live, but arguably the most powerful. This may be a good part of the reason his story is skimmed over in most textbooks. That aside, Mansa Musa is a clear and perhaps rare example of a very wealthy individual who held at least an equal amount of power to go along with it.
Personality profile. Now you know. It's that time on radio. Let's take you into the life and times of men and women who inspire, role models who have shaped the world.
Olusegun Matthew Okikiola Aremu Obasanjo was a former Nigerian Army general and former president of Nigeria from the year 1999 to 2007 and was born on the 5th of May 1937. Obasanjo was a career soldier before serving twice as the nation's head of state and also serving as a military ruler from the 13th of February 1976 to the 1st of October 1979 and also as a democratically elected president from 29th of May 1999 to the 29th of May 2007. He was born to his father Amos Agidun Obasanjo Bankole and his mother Ashabi in Abeokuta, Ogun State in Nigeria, and his mother and father died in 1958 and 1959 respectively, making him an orphan at the age of 22. In 1948, Obasanjo enrolled into St. David Ebenezer School at Ibogun for his primary school education, and from 1952 to 1957 he attended Baptist Boys High School at Abeokuta for his secondary school education. In 1958, Olusegun Obasanjo joined the Nigerian Army and received training in Nigeria and abroad. One of such trainings and studies included Defense Services Staff College, Wellington, in India, where he attended in 1965, and where the Commandant's confidential reports on Obasanjo on the 20th Staff Court set in 1965 quoted that he was the best officer who was set at the time from Nigeria, also stating that he was particularly popular in all circles. He had a 21-year military career, which included serving in the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the former Zaire and commanding the 3rd Marine Commando Division during Nigeria's 30th month Biafra Civil War, which lasted from 1967 to 1970. And on the 12th of January 1970, Obasanjo accepted the Biafran surrender, ending the Nigerian Civil War. Also from 1970 to 1975, he was the commander of the Engineering Corps of the Nigerian Army, meaning that earlier in 1972, he was promoted to the rank of Brigadier General, and from 1970 to 1975, he was the commander of the Engineering Corps of the Nigerian Army, meaning that earlier in 1972, he was promoted to the rank of Brigadier General. And by January 1975, the head of state for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, General Yakubu Gowon, made Obasanjo the Federal Commissioner for Works and Housing to oversee the development of housing, highways, roads, bridges, electrical and street lighting in the country following the oil boom. Also in 1975, when General Murtala Mohammed took power as head of state via a military coup, Obasanjo was appointed as the Chief of Staff Supreme Headquarters, and in January 1976, he was promoted to Lieutenant General. It should be noted that following a failed coup by Lieutenant Colonel Dimka, in which General Murtala Mohammed was killed, Obasanjo was chosen as the head of state by the Supreme Military Council, and by the 13th of February 1976 had resigned as the head of state and the Nigerian army. Following a failed military coup by Lieutenant Colonel Dimka, in which General Murtala Mohammed was killed, Obasanjo was chosen as the head of state by the Supreme Military Council on the 13th of February 1976, and also he resigned as the head of state and the Nigerian army on the 1st of October 1979, thereby handing power to the newly elected civilian president Shehu Shagari. While still in service, the military regime of Obasanjo benefited from oil revenues that increased, and this increased oil revenues permitted his government spending for infrastructure development and improvement on a large scale. Also notable is the fact that the Obasanjo-led government relocated the federal capital from Lagos to Abuja, a more central location in the interior of the country, because it was not identified with any particular ethnic group. It is also recorded that as an expansion of agricultural production and industrialization boomed in the 1970s when Obasanjo was in power, despite many infrastructural constraints, and the Nigerian Enterprises Promotion Decree of 1977 further encouraged the growth of an indigenous middle class. During his tenure, Obasanjo was able to establish a steel mill in Ajokuta in Kogi State with Soviet assistance. Education also expanded under Obasanjo, and at the start of the Civil War, there were only 5 universities, but by 1975, the number had increased to 13, with 7 more to be established over the next several years. Similar advances were also made in primary and secondary school education, during which the universal primary school education was introduced nationwide. It is also recorded that during the regime of Sani Abacha, that was between 1993 to 1998, Obasanjo spoke against the human rights abuse of the regime and was imprisoned for alleged participation in an aborted coup based on testimony via torture, and was released after Abacha's sudden death on the 8th of June 1998. And in that same year, he founded the African Leadership Forum. On the 29th of May 1999, Obasanjo took office as the first elected and civilian head of state in Nigeria after 16 years of military rule, and that today is now commemorated as the Democracy Day, which is a public holiday in Nigeria. Obasanjo spent most of his first time traveling abroad as president, where he succeeded in winning at least some Western support for strengthening Nigerians' nascent democracy. Obasanjo also won international praise for Nigeria's role in crucial regional peacekeeping missions in Sierra Leone and Libya. From July 2004 to January 2006, Obasanjo also served as the chairperson of the African Union, and by June 12, 2006, he signed the Green Tree Agreement with Cameroonian President Paul Biya, which formally put an end to the Bakassi Peninsula border dispute. With the already existing oil revenue, Obasanjo created the Niger Delta Development Commission and implemented the Universal Basic Education Program to enhance the literacy level of Nigerians. It should be noted he constituted both the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and resuscitated the National Fertilizer Company in Kaduna and Oner, Port Harcourt. Before Obasanjo's administration, Nigeria's GDP growth had been painfully low since 1987. However, under Obasanjo, the growth rate doubled to 6% until he left office. Also, Nigeria's foreign reserves at the time rose from $2 billion in 1999 to $43 billion on leaving office in 2007. He was able to secure debt pardons from the Paris and London Club amounting to some $18 billion and paid another $18 billion to be debt-free. Most of these loans, should be noted, were accumulated from short-term trade arrears during the exchange control period. After presidency, he became chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees, but voluntarily resigned in the year 2012, April, and was appointed special envoy by the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to the war-torn Democratic Republic of Congo, where he held separate meetings with DRC President Joseph Kabila and rebel leader Laurent Nkunda. Olusegun Obasanjo served as AU observation head while leading a delegation of African Union election observers. Judging from his historic making roles in Nigeria, it would be safe to state that Olusegun Obasanjo has managed to remain relevant in Nigerian politics.
You're welcome to the program. Let's talk. Flood has become a major issue in our society. Was there no proper drainage done for this flood? For this flood to be done? And it gets me thinking.
You see how difficult it is for them. Not all hosts know about the game. Hello and welcome to your number one news and talk radio station, Today 95.1 FM. We've got loads of news and gossip for you. But first off, let's go on a commercial break.
Radio has never been this good. Today,
glad you know now.
This is Today 95.1 FM. To copy this tune, press 9.
This is Today 95.1 FM.
For current news and information, press 5.
They are politicians, all of them. They know what they do.
So they know how they attack each other.
To stay connected all day, press 1.
The person who raised the alarm is the one who made the public know about
Good afternoon and welcome to the World News on your Premium Talk Radio station.
We are your Premium Talk Radio station. Today 95.1 FM. The station with a unique dial.
Still your Premium Talk radio station, Today 95.1 FM, the news update at 1. The federal government is making plans towards the recovery of... Oh, they call my line again now. Hello?
Hello?
What
is happening? I've not been getting that desired result on my advert placed on radio.
You said you wanted a good place to showcase your products now.
Yes. Someone told me about Today 95.1 FM and I said I should call.
Okay, just come to Today 95.1 FM. I beg, I read news now, thanks.
On my way.
Sorry for that break. Still on the news, Governor of...
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Are you in search of a place to do all your audio recordings? From jingle, documentaries, church messages, and lots more.
Are you in search of a platform to give your business maximum exposure? Look no further. Come advertise with Today FM. With our unbeatable reach, we'll give your business the boost it so dearly needs. Visit us now at number 1 Today FM Drive off East West Road, Rumekini, Port Harcourt. Whatever the business is, we'll give it a voice.
It's that time on radio. Let's take you into the life and times of men and women who inspire, role models who have shaped the world.
Let me take you through a journey of Nigeria's nationalism. Do you know who the founder of Nigeria's nationalism was? He's sometimes acclaimed as the Gandhi of West Africa. He was a man of many parts, a civil engineer, a surveyor by training, a civil servant, a politician, an editor, a journalist, an accomplished violinist, a historian, and wait for it, an ex-convict. The founding father of Nigeria's nationalism. He helped to lay the foundation of modern Nigeria and contributed to the shaping of popular perceptions of a modern nation and its obligations to the public. In addition, he maintained an abiding interest in the history and concerns of Black people throughout the world. Herbert Olayinka Samuel Healers Badmus Macaulay. That's a mouthful, right? He was born in Lagos on the 14th of November 1864 to Thomas Babington Macaulay and Abigail Crowther, children of people captured from what is now present-day Nigeria and resettled in Sierra Leone by the British West African Squadron and eventual returnees to Nigeria. Thomas Babington Macaulay was one of the sons of Ojo Oraire, while Abigail Crowther was the daughter of Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther, a descendant of King Abiodun. Thomas Barberton Macaulay was the founder of the first secondary school in Nigeria, the CMS Grammar School, Lagos, between 1869 and 1877. Macaulay attended Breadfruit School, Lagos, and Faji School, Lagos, for his elementary education from 1877 to October 1880. He attended CMS Grammar School, Lagos, for his secondary school after going to a Christian missionary school. From childhood, young Herbert Macaulay learned the importance of a sound education, patriotism, and of course Christian values. However, his grandparents and parents also believed in the importance of indigenous Yoruba cultural values and of working within the larger culture around them. Like many later Pan-Africanists, they advocated the intelligent selection of progressive values and institutions from westernized Christianity and African society. Coming from such a family, he must have experienced a lot of pressure to enter the clergy, but he rejected this career in favor of a more worldly career. He took a job as a clerk at the Lagos Department of Public Works in 1881. In July 1890, the government sent him abroad for further training under G.D. Bellamy of Plymouth. 3 years later, he qualified as a civil engineer, the first Nigerian in this profession. On his return to Lagos, the government made him a surveyor of Crown lands in Lagos. However, he soon became dissatisfied with the conditions of his employment. Like many of his African colleagues, he hated the two-tier system then existed in government service, whereby British civil servants enjoyed better conditions and much higher salaries than Africans. Thus, in 1898, Macaulay decided to go into private practice as a licensed surveyor and architect. His practice, however, was not very successful. Constantly in financial distress, he took advantage of his position as executor of the estate of a family dependent from which he misappropriated funds. Unfortunately, this act became known to the authorities and he was tried and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. While many sympathized with him because of the extenuating circumstances of his large extended family, this event meant that he could never become a candidate for public office. Now, barred from elective public office, Macaulay made his mark in politics through journalism and political organizations and various advisory capacities. Between 1890 and 1927, he was a frequent contributor to the Nigerian Chronicle. In 1927, Macaulay joined forces with his friend Dr. John Akilade Colcrick, a physician and politician, to buy the Lagos Daily News, the first daily newspaper in British West Africa. Founded in 1925, Macaulay decided on political tone of the paper. This provided his platform for his battles against the government and his African political opponents. During the 1920s, a period in Nigerian history associated with the beginning of political agitation for self-rule, Macaulay became a leading figure in the first generation of Nigerian nationalists. In 1921, Macaulay passionately led protests in Lagos over water rates, land issues, and mishandling of railway finances. In 1922, he helped a Lagos chief in his legal battle with the colonial government, who had forcefully taken some of his land for government purposes. The highest court in England heard the case and returned the land to the chief. This victory inspired Macaulay to establish in 1923 Nigeria's first political party, the Nigerian National Democratic Party, whose members were the first to sit in the Legislative Council. The NNDP was the first well-organized political party in Commonwealth West Africa. Its motto was Salus Populi Suprema Lex. The safety of the people is the greatest law. Its candidates won all the elective seats in the Nigerian legislature between 1923 and 1938. For fear that government might take action against him, Macaulay refused to hold any party office until 1930s. But in Lagos, there was no doubt that he was the driving force and real power behind the scenes. He maintained close ties with the first executive councils and was always present at NNDP public meetings. Further, he had extensive links with the masses of Lagosians through their traditional popular associations, particularly the Market Women Union and many vocational unions. He encouraged market women and elite women to take part in party activities, including speaking at its meetings. In 1931, relations with Macaulay and the British began to improve up to the point that the governor held conferences with Macaulay. In October 1938, the more radical Nigerian youth movement fought and won elections for the Lagos Town Councils, ending the dominance of Macaulay and his National Democratic Party. In order to avoid the demise of the party, Macaulay's NNDP joined forces with the Nigerian youth movement to form the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, NCNC. The NCNC, led by Macaulay, was not set out to be a political party. It was more of a nationalist organization designed to advocate for an independent Nigeria. In August 1944, however, he saw the leadership and strategy of the National Council of Nigeria and Cameroons, NCNC, offered brilliant prospects in the struggle for self-government. Although many of his colleagues in the NNDP executive disagreed with him, he carried the day when he threatened to resign if they did not agree to enter into a coalition of interest groups. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the dynamic leader of the NCNC then, capitalized on Macaulay's decision to join the party. At this time, Macaulay was 80 years old, but still appeared physically strong and mentally alert. But his insistence in undertaking a strenuous campaign against the constitutional proposals of 1945 proposed by Governor Richards taxed his strength. While on the national tour, he suffered an acute attack of rheumatism and was forced to return to Lagos, where he died on 7th of May 1946. Huge crowds, estimated variously between 100,000 and 200,000, turned out in the streets to mourn, and all the markets closed for 2 full days. The leadership of the NCNC went to Azikiwe, who later became the first president of Nigeria. Macaulay was buried at Ikoyi Cemetery in Lagos on 11th of May 1946. Nnamdi Azikiwe delivered a funeral oration at Macaulay's burial ceremony. As is customary among the Yoruba, when a distinguished leader dies at an advanced age, his funeral became the occasion for a prolonged celebration of a life well lived and public service well acclaimed. He was survived by 2 children, Sarah Abigail Idowu Macaulay and Oliver Ogedengbe Macaulay.
Personality profile. Now you know. Every day on Today 95.1 FM, there's always an opportunity to comment and air your views on our various programs. It's not just about us, it's about you, your opinion, and your voice.
President, don't you think that it's time to step down, sir?
Be part of the story, the gist, reactions, intrigues, and the news.
President Neil Patrick Harris has called for greater regulation.
Give us a feedback or join the conversation on Twitter at TodayFM951. Our Facebook address is Today95.1 FM, or join us on the number 0701 933 9962. That's our WhatsApp application. Be informed, be educated, and have fun. We are Today 95.1 FM, voice of the people.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Talk radio.
I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Every day on Today 95.1 FM, there's always an opportunity to comment and air your views on our various programs. It's not just about us, it's about you, your opinion, and your voice.
President, don't you think that it's time to step down, sir?
Be part of the story, the gist, reactions, intrigues, and the news.
President Neil Patrick Harris has called for greater regulation.
Give us a feedback or join the conversation on Twitter at TodayFM951. Our Facebook address is Today95.1 FM, or join us on the number 0701 933 9962. That's our WhatsApp application. Be informed, be educated, and have fun. We are Today 95.1 FM, voice of the people.
This is Today 95.1 FM. To copy this tune, press 9.
This is Today 95.1 FM.
For current news and information, press 5.
They are politicians, all of them. They know what they do.
So they know how they attack each other.
And
To stay connected all day, press 1.
The person who raised the alarm is the one who made the public know about
Good afternoon and welcome to the World News on your Premium Talk Radio station.
We are your premium talk radio station. Today 95.1 FM, the station with a unique dial.
Good morning, sir.
My pikin, how are you this morning?
I'm fine, sir.
You dey go school?
Yes, sir.
Make sure say you read.
Madam, please, can I have one small juice and 2 biscuits there? Please be fast. Okay, customer, pay no vex. I dey come, make her bring them.
Please buy me toy.
No, you're late. You're late already.
Plantain, buy plantain.
See as this small girl dey cross this busy road anyhow.
Sweet plantain.
So, your mama no know say you too young to dey hawk?
Now one for mama. Oh, I beg come on for it, make I cross road.
Made in China.
Oh, buy your plantain.
Leave the road.
The fact that you're not financially buoyant doesn't mean that you should abuse your child. Most times, these children don't have the capacity or knowledge to carry on these tasks. Education, they say, is an important aspect in a child's life. So do well not to take away that opportunity from them, as it will affect them later in the future. Remember that giving out your child for early marriage could also affect the child's life. So stop child trafficking. Avoid sending them out in the name of making money, because the children today are the leaders of tomorrow. Don't ruin their future with your ignorance. Say no today to child abuse. Say no today to child trafficking. Say no today to child marriage. This message is brought to you by Today95.1 FM.
We are the future. We are the dream. We are the nation. We are part of this. Yes, we are so amazing. That's the least we shall be.
Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
My name is Ifeanyi. I'm calling you from. Hello?
Yes, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
My name is William. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
All right, William from Port Harcourt. Go ahead.
Talk radio.
You have a right to say no, right? All right.
I'm calling from Unipua.
Okay, thank you so much from Unipua.
We are the station that needs no introduction. Of course, you know, we give the best in news, sports.
You like football, right?
Entertainment, politics. In fact, call it talk.
Yes, we know there's a lot you want to hear, and that is why we talk about everything.
Talk radio.
We're right before you. It's just a dial away. This is your number one premium talk radio. Today, 95.1 FM. Voice of the people.
Still your premium talk radio station, Today 95.1 FM. The news update at 1. The federal government is making plans towards the recovery of... Oh, they call my line again now. Hello?
Hello?
What
is happening? I've not been getting that desired result on my advert placed on radio.
You said you wanted a good place to showcase your products now.
Yes. Someone told me about Today 95.1 FM and I said I should call.
Okay. Just come to Today 95.1 FM. I beg. I read news now. Thanks.
On my way.
Sorry for that break. Still on the news, Governor of...
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
I'm T-Ranger calling from Imo State.
My name is White calling from Bayelsa.
Hello, yes, this is Udra calling from Akwa Ibom.
My name is John calling from Abia.
Amaka calling from Abia.
This is Toya calling from Bayelsa. I'm Divine calling from Port Harcourt.
With over 8 million listeners glued to this dial, why not take advantage
and showcase your product
and services to the world with rates that wouldn't break your bank?
Visit us at number 1 Today FM Drive off East West Road, Rumekini, Port Harcourt, or our city office, 21 Orobom Crescent, GRA Phase 2, Port Harcourt.
Give us a call today on
0803 35 57 986 or 0810 128 2937.
We are your number one talk radio station. Today, 95.1 FM. Voice of the people.
and kata. No, nothing else. Just bring 5,000 now.
Only.
Make
the kata day. Make the cold remain.
Yeah, they worry.
You were not aware you're a thief. Now that you know that your money is coming from a thief, do you not see why you're a thief?
All right, still talking about affairs of the federal government. We understand also that the federal government...
Welcome to today's edition of Beats and Pieces in the Premium Talk and News Radio.
That's where we're called the voice of the people. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Act.
Here we go.
This is Today 95.1 FM. To copy this tune, press 9.
This is Today 95.1 FM.
For current news and information, press 5.
They are politicians, all of them. They know what they do.
So they know how they attack each other.
To stay connected all day, press 1.
The person who raised the alarm is the one who made the public know about
Good afternoon and welcome to the World News on your Premium Talk Radio station.
We are your Premium Talk radio station. Today 95.1 FM, the station with a unique dial.
Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered on air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today, 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM. Port Harcourt. News update.
Good evening and welcome to the Big Stories. The Big Stories is a current affairs program on your premium radio station Today 95.1 FM, where we review events and issues that made news headlines over the past 7 days. We begin this week's edition of the Big Stories with some crime story. On Monday, armed men suspected to be robbers shot and killed 2 mobile police officers around Ojoto, Diob, Port Harcourt City local government area of River State. The mobile officers were said to be escorting a liquor businessman transporting huge cash to the bank after weekend sales. The armed robbers ambushed the officers, shot and killed them, and also escaped with the cash and rifles of the slain officers. Reacting to the incident, the spokesman of the vigilante group, Prince Amatari Bipelede, blamed the delay on the establishment of the Neighborhood Safety Corps for the prevailing insecurity in the state.
The government delay in making the Neighborhood Safety Corps agency to function or in equipping the vigilante is really affecting the society. It's affecting the society where the government or the government are not disarming these criminals. And for you to equip people who are what it takes to disarm them, you don't want to do it. It means something is fishy. In fact, I can't even understand why these delays are coming, because every day you keep on hearing atrocities going on in the community, in the society, and there is a process that can curtail these things, but nothing is being done. So I don't know where the society is going to.
Also on Monday, Nigerian workers threatened to commence a fresh strike following the refusal of the federal government to implement the new national minimum wage. At the time of this report, 8 industrial unions in the public services of the federal and 36 state governments under the aegis of the trade union side of the Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council said it had commenced mobilization of its members nationwide to prepare them for the next line of action. But they said a meeting of officials of the TUS of the council across the country is being arranged with the sole aim of setting the record straight and at the same time preparing for appropriate trade union measures to be deployed to get justice for public service employees. While our Latin Nigerians on the imminent strike, the TUS acting chairman Simon Ankava and Secretary Alade Lawal said they may have to embark on industrial action if the current state of affairs regarding the issue of consequential adjustment arising from the new national minimum wage of 30,000 naira remains the same. The workers regretted that since the committee set up early in June by the government to work out the consequential adjustments arising from the new national minimum wage started to meet, the government has been playing politics with the intent of scuttling the implementation of the new wage signed into law by President Mahmoud Buhari on April 18, 2019. On Tuesday, former Abia State Governor Orji Uzor Kalu was announced as the chief whip of the upper legislative chamber. Senate President Ahmad Laban made the announcement on the floor of the Red Chamber. The Senate President also announced Senator Abdullahi Yahya, representing Kebbi North, as the majority leader. Senator Ajayi Borifis from Ondo North was announced as the deputy majority leader, while Senator Abdullahi Sabi of Niger North was announced deputy chief of the Senate. Also, Senator representing Abia South, Senator Naya Abaribe, was announced as minority leader. Senator Imam Bwacha, representing Taraba South, as deputy minority leader, and Senator Philip Aduda as the minority whip.
Which I respectfully submit as the consensus reached and as Abdullahi Obakar Yahya, deputy Senate leader, Boniface Robert Ajayi, Chief Whip, Dr. Orji Uzor Kalu, and Deputy Chief Whip, Abdullahi Aliyu Sabi. Senate Minority Leader, Senator Abaribe, Deputy Senate Minority Leader, Senator Emmanuel Bwacha, Senate Minority Whip, Senator Philip Aduda, and Deputy Senate Minority Whip, Senator Sahabiawu.
Meanwhile, on Wednesday, there was a rowdy session at the lower chamber of the National Assembly over the announcement of minority leadership positions. The incident broke out after Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila ignored the letter by the People's Democratic Party nominating Rivers lawmaker Kingsley Chinda as the minority leader of the House. Gbajabiamila rather announced Ndudi Olumelu from Delta State as minority leader, which that led to protests as some aggrieved lawmakers did not agree with it. Speaking with newsmen after the plenary, the member representing Obiakpo Federal Constituency, Kingsley Chinda, said they will not accept a situation where the majority in the House will impose a minority leader on members.
And we all agreed that the party should go back amongst the nominees and choose from amongst them and report back to us. And we reconvened and received the report of the party, and we left satisfied. Only for us to attend plenary today to see this ambush. We are not going to take it. We must do things properly. We are members of minority party. Our leadership will not be determined by the majority party. We are aware of the schemings of the APC, that the target is that they are going to decimate the minority parties in parliament and that they will decide who becomes minority leaders in parliament. We will not allow that to happen.
Meanwhile, members of other minority parties in the House, including Ifeanyi Moma of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, in Anambra State, said the PDP has no right to decide who leads the minority parties in the House.
When the other group came, and they were mentioning only one party, they didn't mention other parties. Minority leader is not for one party. They are making mistake of being APC and PDP alone in the House. We have other political parties like my own party, ADC. We have APGA. We have PRP. We have AA. We have SDP. And all of us are here present.
Order 7 Rule 8 of our standing rules makes it categorically clear. It states there that the members of the minority parties shall nominate from amongst themselves the 4 minority positions outlined there. Members of the minority parties. The minorities in the House, there's PDP, there's APGA, there's AA, there's ADP, there's SDP, there's Labour, and other parties there. So when PDP will have their own meeting and issue a communique to that effect, does that communique remain binding on other parties?
Last week, the Rivers State House of Assembly set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the incident that led to several deaths in Kamkom community in Oyibo local government area of the state. The ad hoc committee, led by a member representing Eleme constituency, Igwe Afoji, was set up following the petition by the paramount ruler of Kamkom, Chief S.N. Azu. Member representing Oyibo constituency, Promise Nwako, who presented the petition, said the people are not happy with the Nigerian National Petroleum Commission and NPC.
From the petition they've raised is the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation that owns the pipeline. And it's as a result, like what they've been hearing over the radio, is as a result of their equipment failure. Nothing, they said it was as a result of bunkering. It's nothing like bunkering activity there. Their valve failed because they failed to conduct an integrity test on their pipeline before energizing the pipeline. That was exactly what happened. And what they've been able to do is to go there, excavate the area, and they fix back their pipeline and began to work on the same line. I am calling on other lawmakers to ensure that the adequate and proper thing is being done.
Correspondent Victor Izema reported that the report of the ad hoc committee on the attack on Billy passenger boat was also presented but was deferred till the coming week for deliberation. Last week also, the federal government announced that it had suspended the planned Ruga settlements program. The Ruga initiative has for some time been generating heated debate in various quarters, with some arguing that it is a scheme by the government of the day to reposition the Fulani tribe. However, the presidency has defended the controversial Ruga settlements program, saying that the initiative is for the benefit of all. And in the week behind, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, announced the majority principal officers of the chamber. Gbajabiamila made the announcement at the plenary, where he read a letter from the ruling All Progressives Congress nominating the principal officers. The appointees are Al Ado Doguwa as majority leader, Peter Akpata as deputy majority leader, Mohammed Mongono and chief whip, and Inkeruka Onyejosha as deputy whip. According to the Speaker, the leadership of the House is now being fully constituted. Meanwhile, there was confusion at the plenary in the House of Representatives as Kingsley Chinda of the People's Democratic Party ignored the Speaker and took the minority leadership seat reserved for Ndudu Elumelu, who was announced by the Speaker yesterday as the minority leader of the House. You're currently listening to the big stories on Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news and foreign stories. Stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today 95.1 FM.
95.1 FM, Voice of the People.
And we're back.
All right, welcome back. Last week, the Senate set up a committee headed by Ibrahim Gobe to unravel the remote and immediate causes of the pipeline explosion that killed 15 persons and injured over 50 others at Kumkum community in Oyibo Local Council of Rivers State. The upper legislative chamber, sympathizing with the government and people of Rivers State, directed the National Emergency Management Agency to visit the scene of the explosion and provide succor to the victims. It also urged the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Pipelines and Products Marketing Company and other agencies in the oil and gas sector to improve security of oil installations nationwide. The resolution of the Senate followed a motion sponsored by George Sekibo and 3 others. Also at the Red Chambers, the senator representing Adamawa North Senatorial District, Senator Elisha Abo, apologized to Nigerians and women in general following the viral video in which he was seen physically assaulting a lady. Senator Abo, at a media briefing in Abuja, also apologized to his party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for its actions. The Adamawa North senator asked for forgiveness, saying it is not in his character to assault women. Last week, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Ezenwo-Wike reacted to the current controversy going on in the House of Representatives over minority leadership. According to a statement released by the Special Assistant to the Governor on Electronic Media, Simon Nwakudu Wike, who said he's not surprised by what happened at the House of Representatives, lamented that trading has been placed above party loyalty at the House. Wike, who was speaking during the courtesy visit by the governor of Oyo State, Oluseyi Makinde, at the government house in Port Harcourt, stated that he's purely a party loyalist and reiterated his belief in the ideals of the PDP.
Like he mentioned about what has happened in the National Assembly yesterday, for me, I'm not surprised when you have traders and merchants So what result do you expect? It's unfortunate for those who do not understand what politics is all about. I'm a core party person. I believe in whatever party says. But we'll leave that at the end of the day, whatever that plays out, we will know where to go. It's necessary for us to visit each other and compare notes and see where we're making progress and see where we think that things are not being done well. So we'll be able to improve.
On his part, the visiting Oyo State governor said what happened at the House of Representatives, where the position of the PDP was subverted, calls for concern, adding that if the party takes a position on certain things, it ought to be carried through. Governor Makinde, who said he was in River State to discuss issues of true federalism and the role of states in the development process, commended Governor Wike for his developmental strides during his first term, saying that he expects him to deliver more projects for the people. On the foreign scene, last week, the United Nations Security Council called Libya's warring parties to commit to a ceasefire after a deadly air raid on a detention center for migrants and refugees near the capital, Tripoli. The UN's most powerful body also called on the parties to rapidly return to UN-mediated political talks and urged all the countries not to intervene or escalate conflict in Libya, which has been racked by chaos since the NATO-backed overthrow of leader Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The council press statement was the first approved by all 15 members since the leader of the self-styled Libyan National Army, Khalifa Haftar, launched an offensive in early April to wrestle the capital from forces loyal to the UN-recognized Government of National Accord. The statement was spurred by Tuesday night's raid on the detention center in Tajura, which the council said killed 50 people and wounded more than 130 others. According to the International Organization for Migration, 6 children were among those killed. And in sports, Nigeria ousted champions and bitter rivals Cameroon from the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations as they won their last 16 match 3-2 yesterday. The win booked Nigeria a place in the quarterfinals. President Muhammadu Buhari congratulated the Super Eagles of Nigeria for the delightful win over the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. And in a statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, Buhari acknowledged the hard work, team spirit and sportsmanship of the Eagles and urged the team and their handlers to remain focused and determined, assuring them of the fervent prayers and support of all Nigerians. And on that note,
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
He touched me. Oh, he touched me. And all the joy that floods my soul.
You're welcome to None Shall Be Barren. I'm your host, Pastor Regina Oduagbomen of Joshua Generation Foundation and Youth Development, Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria. My brothers and sisters, I want to appreciate God for the grace and the opportunity He has given to us today for me to come your way. And I know that the Lord who provided this opportunity will bless you today. As you listen, call your family members, call your friends, relax and hear what God has for you today. Many of you are my fans. You watch me on television and then radio, you hear my voice. And so many of you also have partnered with me in one way or the other, either sponsoring the preaching of the gospel through television and radio evangelism, or touching the lives of the orphans and less privileged students who are giving education. In any way God has used you, I know that He will bless you in the name of Jesus. Today, we are going to be talking about something that really will bless your heart. And if you take advantage of this opportunity, I know that you will not regret. You will be happy that God made available this opportunity for you to be a blessing to your generation. Hallelujah.
We are calling on good-spirited individuals like you, my partners and my brothers and sisters listening, to partner with us to donate towards the expansion and the rebuilding of our exam hall, the WAEC and NECO exam hall. The exam is starting, in the next few days, and we are trusting that you will give so that we will complete that building to make it comfortable for the children to do their exams. It's costing us almost 5.5 million to complete. I know that somebody is listening. You say, Pastor, don't worry. I'll give you this 5.5 or 1,500,000, 200,000, 100,000. As you donate, may God reward you. May God build for you. Some of you are having uncompleted projects. May God help you and build for you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Today, I am talking about partnership, and the topic says, are you a blessing to your generation? The Bible tells us in Galatians chapter 6 from verse 9, don't get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Another version said, you will reap a reward. And that's what I'm talking about today. He said, verse 10 says, therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially to those in the family of faith. To those in the family of faith. Hallelujah. And that brings me to the call for partnership, because by the grace of God, some years back, the Lord gave me a mandate, gave me a burden for the orphans and less privileged. And He told me to give them education. And this was actually born out of a heavy heart, because there was crisis in 2001. And before you know it, my house was burnt. That's my labor for 12 years in the bank. My father's house was burnt. And I was bitter. That's the truth. But the Lord gave me a word. He said, instead of being bitter, I should begin to pray for the youths. And He told me that if these ones were doing something worthwhile, they will not take to the street to do evil, to scatter people's house, kill, maim, and destroy. And as I prayed, I began to ask the Lord, what do I do? He said, give them education. If somebody's, for instance, a doctor, he will not leave saving lives in the hospital and then go and take arms. Or if he's a lawyer, a politician or one of these big personalities in the society. The person will not go down and take to the streets to do harm. So I began to pray towards it, and eventually I started. And since then, by the grace of God, the Lord has helped us to help a lot of people. But right now, there is a challenge. And this challenge is that we were mandated by the government to have a fence around the school because of the security challenges in our country that we have found ourselves, and also to get more space to accommodate more of these youths, more of these young people, more of these orphans. And the crisis and the wickedness that is going around turned a lot of young ones orphans, and somebody has to help. And that is why I am calling on somebody that is listening to assist by donating, like the classes we are building and the rents are actually pushing, and we need to accommodate these children. And I know that somebody will be touched to say, I am partnering with you to raise up that structure for them to secure that place. For the past 14 years we've been there, there's no problem. Until now, the security challenges came up. Nobody planned for it. But as it came up, the Lord gave us a mandate and said, look, call your brethren to assist. Call people. I've put it in the heart of many to assist. And I know that a lot of people, as you are listening, will assist. You don't just say, okay, I'm giving to Pastor Regina or I'm giving to the work. I want you to give spiritually. I want you to give expecting a reward from God. My ministry is one ministry that, like a pastor, one of my friends called me, say, Pastor Regina, do you know, anytime I need God's assistance, I always love to sow into your ministry because your ministry is a fertile ministry. How do I know? Psalm 41 verse 1 to 3 tells me that. Psalm 41 verse 1 to 3. Listen, he said, oh, the joys of those who are kind to the poor. The Lord rescues them when they are in trouble. The Lord protects them and keeps them alive. He gives them prosperity in the land and rescues them from their enemies. The Lord nurses them when they are sick and restores them to health. Hallelujah. These are the things God does for anyone who is doing the work of God, who is doing the will of God. He said you will have joy. Do you want to have joy? I tell you, brethren,